The Better on Draft podcast is recorded live in Detroit Sound Studios in Royal Oak, Michigan. Now, pop that 40 and kick back with your hosts, Dan, Nick, Ken, Rob, and Matt.
And we are live with the Better on Draft podcast. My name is not Ken.
What's up?
Hey.
What's up?
This actually is Robert doing a little bit of a hosting today. Yeah, and I went with Robert. I know you have a problem.
Such a dork.
Yeah, I know, but that's okay because, that's just the stage name. This is episode 94. As Matt Bush would say, this would probably be the Ziggy Ansah episode.
There you go. Ezekiel. He was the only top 100 NFL player in the top 400 thing that they did.
Well, at least they had one. There were still, 4 teams that didn't have one at all?
We had the number 3 most players in the top 400, but we only had one in the top 100.
Well, that's still something. It's always something. At least you're not, one of the either Bears, 49ers, and there are two other teams, but those were
Steelers. They suck.
Hey, excuse you.
No.
I believe Antonio Brown was number 3-ish.
Who?
Who? Wide receiver.
Who?
AB.
Yeah, people want Le'Veon Bell more than him, anyways.
Well, Le'Veon Bell needs to sign a contract because he's really starting to piss me off right now.
So what's going on, Rob?
Hey,
This is
Ken.
your show, not mine. I'm just sitting back drinking beer.
Right. How you doing, Ken?
I'm doing well.
That's good. What you drinking over there?
So from the Boiler Brewing Company out of the Nebraska. There we go. Lincoln, Nebraska. Cherry Limeade Goza. We have a couple crowlers from them. Compliments of my father, who was on a big road trip and brought us a bunch of beer to drink.
Nice. I should hand that over here real quick.
Oh, okay. I can do that for you.
I know there's the other one that's over there that's next to Angela that I want to get a hold of. Speaking of which, how you doing, Angela?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Good. Doing all right. You were on a hellacious trip this last week or so.
Yeah, I'm sad. I'm really sad to be back.
She went to go see Dashboard Confessional or something in Georgia.
Something like that.
I don't know. They just performed here. That's all I know. Who'd you go see?
I saw Jack Johnson.
Oh, Jack Johnson. Okay.
I forgot that I went to a concert. I'm like, what are you talking about? I saw him at the Gorge, if anyone knows what the Gorge is. It was pretty epic.
Hey, that's just pictures of mountains and lakes, just chilling out and enjoying the scenery. And hey, I'd kind of forget a concert if go through all of that.
We drank a lot too, so we drank a lot, and I lied to customs about how much beer I had, or if I had any beer. And I ended up getting randomly selected to get searched on the way home.
How was that?
Yeah, how'd that go?
Terrifying, actually, because we had other things in the car that were considered illegal.
Wine and liquor, understandable.
No.
It was so funny. She kept a straight face until I winked at her and just done.
So actually, if you're traveling to Canada, any citrus fruits cannot cross the border. And pepper spray is considered a firearm, and you can go to jail up to 5 years in Canada. So,
oh wow,
you're here, so
for all my friends,
yeah, that's
yes.
good.
I hit it good.
So wait, so did they confiscate anything?
Obviously,
peppers
her oranges.
and clementines.
They took those. Okay, so they took those.
Not
Wow.
the Sasquatch stout that I brought back for us. Coffee, chocolate, and mystery.
Mystery.
We'll crack it open.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. All right. Well, we do have a couple guests in the studio. I guess I'm going to start over to my right. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
Okay, we're Jeff and my wife, Kat.
Hello.
And we are opening a new brewery, hopefully in August.
Hopefully.
As long as the state of Michigan thinks it's a good time. And the brewery will be, his name is Jamex Brewing Company. And everybody always asks us why we picked that name. Why did we pick that name?
Because for like 3 months straight, we were coming up with all different names, all different ideas, you know, anything that sounded cool or seemed beer-like. It turns out that everything's pretty much taken. Everything's either a brewery or a beer or something to do with the brewing industry, and we could not find a single
Or
name.
it's super unoriginal people. Like,
Or that. So we have 2 little boys at home, James and Alex, and we just made a name.
That makes perfect.
So how does James feel that he's getting 4/5 of the name and Alex is getting 1/5?
what's worse is James is the younger brother, so this is going to be a problem in a couple of years.
Maybe a
Be a lot of-
lifelong issue.
A lot of litigating coming up.
I mean, that's what I figured. It's just as far as the order. That's the way that makes sense. So
Yeah.
and that's
It's
kind
too
of the way
hard
to
to
go.
go, yeah.
So what really got you into the idea of opening a brewery?
Well, let's see. We moved to San Diego back in 2009, and
You say that's like a really long time ago.
that's what it feels like. But
I mean, it's been 8 years, but it's like
Yeah.
back. I was still out of high school at that time.
That's the year I
Oh, yeah.
graduated.
Wait. Hold on. You graduated 09 in high school?
09 so far.
Oh my god! I didn't. I was like, damn. I thought you were closer to my age. I didn't realize you were so young.
Don't age me. It's a sensitive subject.
Age. So you moved to San Diego in 09.
yeah, and the craft beer scene in San Diego is absolutely like in full
Yeah.
throttle mode.
They were much, much further ahead when we left.
Yeah.
Right, when we went there.
And I just remember
Yeah.
going to the closest liquor store to get a beer, and the first beer I bought in San Diego was a Green Flash West Coast IPA. And I was thinking, I was just looking at the label, like, wow, this is brewed in San Diego. That's cute. And then, the next time I go to the beer store, I get, an AleSmith beer. I'm like, this is excellent.
Oh.
Anything AleSmith, I think is great.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, that's San Diego, too. And then all of a sudden, it occurs to me that San Diego is, a great beer city.
All beer.
It's all
And
right.
it's
Like every single beer in the liquor store is actually brewed in San
Yeah.
Diego.
I mean, it's
They're
all
like,
right.
oh.
Modern Times is out there too.
I don't like the breweries in San Diego for their whole uprisal or upheaval of 10 Barrel or whatever the brewery. I think it's 10 Barrel, the brewery, the big brewery that opened up or wanted to open up in San Diego. Because, that's just rude. I'm sorry.
No.
I have a disdain for people who don't like being welcoming to other people.
Yeah.
And that includes involving breweries, brewers, fans. Again, you've listened to our show long enough to know we're very, if you like it, it's a good beer. That's what our sponsor, North Center Brewing over in Northville, Michigan, says. If you like it, it's a good
super
beer.
cool.
I don't care what you drink as long as you enjoy it. Whether it's Rob drinking his Four Loko or, Angela drinking her Half Acre.
At least he gave you one that you like. Goodness, For Loco.
I've already insulted her apparently for her age for
Well,
graduating
I mean-
in 09 so fine.
You don't bring up a woman's age ever. You don't do that.
Don't look at me.
He said he thought I was older than I am.
Yeah. See, and that
I thought that because you're so much more mature.
Oh, well, okay. I'll take it. I don't believe it, but I'll take it.
yeah, I see what you did there. All right, so everything with the scene that was going on in San Diego were as far as because I saw that you've done some homebrewing. Were you doing
Yes.
homebrewing before that, or
No.
was it that really put you into doing it?
Well, it's funny, at the time, the closest homebrew store, so I wanted to start homebrewing. Actually, Kat bought me a homebrew kit for my birthday. And the store she bought it from was the Ballast Point homebrew store. And now Ballast Point, I don't even think you consider them a craft brewery anymore, right?
Technically,
Yeah.
Technically, no.
That's
but
why it seems like it was ages ago.
well, what's funny is
Well,
that
that's changed.
you
Yeah.
you talk about when did you move back to Michigan?
We moved back in the late fall of 2012.
Okay, so when Ballast Point got to Michigan, that week is when Constellation announced his purchase of Ballast Point. So everyone, it was like this huge hype, and everyone's just like, oh. You're
Yeah.
expecting. I'm like, it's still good beer. I mean, we drank Ballast Point on here for the first
hell yeah.
6-8 months.
Yeah.
Everyone was drinking the Sculpins. Dan was always drinking the Habanero Sculpin. I think the only beer we didn't like from them was the Watermelon Dorado. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is weird because I do like watermelon beers,
Yeah.
like Wienermelon, Tahai or
Hell or High Watermelon.
Hell or High Watermelon, yeah.
But that one, no.
Yeah, that was bad. So you were in San Diego for a couple years. You actually made your way back into Michigan. So that was 5 years ago. So you got your brew kit. What made you take that leap from home brewing to big barrel system, or want to?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah.
My dad. Yeah. Well, my dad tries to fix everyone's lives for them, right? And so he likes to come over and tell us what we should do with our lives all the time. Yeah, no, he came by, and as usual, he's trying to figure out, how we can make more money and be better adults.
This is coming from a guy who's a CEO of a company in Germany, though.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I mean...
No, but no, I mean, it all comes from a good spot, right? It's good fatherly advice. And
He
then
wants the best for his daughter.
He wants the best, right? And so one day, Jeff just brought up his homebrew, and my dad's like, "Your beer's really good. Like, it's really good. You should open up a brewery." And we're like, let's look into that. And then we realized, then we kind of thought back to the breweries in San Diego, and we're like, a lot of them are actually just warehouses with just a bar, a couple taps, and there you go. You have a brewery and a tasting room. Like, it is that simple. It doesn't have to be, that upscale or intricate like the big ones. You can totally start small and work your way up. And that's kind of how the wheels started churning. Obviously, warehouse in Michigan is not so easy, and I'm sure there's been quite a few more regulations since when we first started visiting breweries. But so we are starting off with a 2-barrel system, kind of going borderline homebrew scale. I mean, as far as breweries go. And we kind of like that because our goal is to make new beer all the time. So we don't want to have really staples. It's just, every week Jeff brews and something new is going to be coming up every single week.
Do you brew at all?
I help.
You help.
I help.
What does that mean?
She knows enough. She can handle it.
That means I point out everything he's doing wrong and I clean up.
No, she cleans out the mash tun.
Let's say she does the hard work.
Yeah.
I'm good at cleaning.
That's the thing is that we're gonna start doing some collaboration brews. I'm like, I just don't want to do the cleaning part. I want to do the brewing part. But
you want to make the mess.
Yeah, I want to make the mess. I don't want to clean it up. So St. Clair Shores, that's a raw, I don't know when you started looking, but you've got obviously Baffin, you've got Shipwreck, which is opening soon, and now you've got Jamex. So, and of course, competing with the Nautical Mile and competing with the water.
Yep.
How is that coming along in regards to your opening process? Like, is it were you there before Shipwreck started, or?
I think we came about right at the same time.
Okay. Pretty much
it was right as we were signing the lease. Evan from Baffin's because there were rumors about another brewery coming around. And he's like, so just so you know, there is another brewery that just bought a building that's opening up. And we're like, oh, okay.
So
really, but it's exciting. It's good. We talked to Evan about this also a few times, and we definitely believe that it's good to have more breweries. It definitely helps us and everybody out. You can do more tastings, more tours. You get more people coming into St. Clair Shores. St. Clair Shores is a little bit tucked away from the rest of Metro Detroit.
That's kind of what I wonder about it, because of the fact that being essentially looks like you're probably going to be second to open in the city. I guess we'll see what happens, because I know Shipwreck is really trying to get their doors open, and you guys basically just had your final inspection the other day.
Well, congrats.
So,
Thank you.
I mean, that idea that there's not that great of a population that's in St. Clair Shores. I mean, kind of feel that it's okay to have 3 breweries that are going to be open in a city that is that small, and we're just going to have just people just come in?
Absolutely.
I think so. I think you have the I-94 corridor, and with the 3 breweries, I think we're going to attract a lot of Grosse Pointers, as well as people from Clinton Township, Fraser, East Point, Roseville. Because if you think about it, the east side, if you were to take Baffin and the two coming St. Clair Shores breweries, you're looking at Dragon Mead, which does very well in the most bizarre location.
That's right.
And Coonan opened up recently on Grossbeck and Clinton Township. But other than that, the east side was it's still pretty empty as far as breweries go. So
yeah, I think they're definitely complements, not substitutes. I would be more inclined to take a drive to visit 3 versus 1. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of how we all look at it.
And then you can do collabs, and it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that also with that, like we talked to, when we had Shipwreck on, we had Steven Johnson from Motor City Brew Tours on, and he's talking about how he's excited because he's going to be able to do an east side trip in regards to doing like Atwater in the Park, Dragon Mead, U3, Coonan, because you're all in that, very, very specific area to where you can hop on, either Jefferson or Gratiot or whatever, just to make an easier drive. But having that capability, I agree that there's, as much as we've talked about the craft beer bubble and where it is, there are places where craft beer can still exist and explode. Whereas there are places, everything's low. It's just like any restaurant or bar, anything. It's location. Mm-hmm. You can open up the best tasting food restaurant ever, but if you open it up in some small like Dowagiac, Michigan, nobody's going to really know it because you're 1 off the freeway, 2, nobody knows where Dowagiac is except for probably me.
I have no idea.
It's you got to take 94 down to like exit 68 and then go south for about 20 minutes.
Oof.
So it's kind of between like 94 and South Bend.
Nope.
So there's actually 2 breweries over in Dowagiac.
Well, you know
Fun
what?
fact.
Hey, fun fact.
You've got Sister Lakes, and then the Strand's going to be brewing shortly soon.
I guess it puts me close enough to take a stop in Indiana, get some 3 Floyds or something.
Well, yeah, you can head down all to Niles and then get into Indiana, find like a good liquor store over there. Definitely check out, for those of you listening, betterondraft.com/MI beer map. You can see all the breweries that are opening, including Jamex Brewing, which is on there. They are yellow. They will turn green once they open. As well as all the other breweries with their hours, their phone number, their Untapped page. But we do have someone else that's going to be a guest, or that is a guest here right now, looking right at him. I feel so weird that I'm not on the board. Like I can't control my, I want to reach over and control my voice a little bit.
You want to turn it down a little bit?
A little up a little bit.
Up a little? Okay.
So we do have another guest. Why don't you introduce yourself? Where are you from?
Yeah, hi. My name's Robert Allen, and I write about craft beer and spirits for the Detroit Free Press.
Now,
and it's the Spirits of Detroit's column.
Is that a full-time job? Like, are you full-time with the Freep, or are you just like a contract writer?
So I am a Freep staff writer, and I spend about 1 day a week writing a column about things I find interesting in the craft beverage world.
Okay. So what was your last article? Talk to us about that. Obviously, it's in the Freep. And you can look at it, but what was it about?
Yeah, so my last one, actually, it's online now, but it's running in Sunday's paper, and it's a Q&A with the owners of Short's Brewing Company.
So Joe Short, when did you have this interview? Now I'm a little more...
It was after the big news came out.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
That would have been really interesting if you didn't hear that news, had this giant interview that you're going to be releasing on Sunday, and then it's like, oh, by the way... So you got to interview Joe and I can't think of the other
Scott Newman Bale.
Scott Newman. Okay. So did you talk about obviously the buyout?
That was the topic of conversation, and it's not a buyout, right?
Yeah.
It's
19.99%.
It's a stake acquisition,
a minority stake.
Minority
for
stake.
now.
There we go.
I'm blunt as all.
The smile.
I pay to put my face on the radio, my voice on the radio. So, well, it's interesting because we've heard rumors in regards to Shorts and a silent investor in the Shorts brand, which is why a lot of people think that this 19.99% is so specific. Do you have any insight in regards to the 19.99?
You wouldn't be talking about Czechoslovakia, would you?
I would. Yes.
No, yeah, as a matter of fact, they came up in our conversation, and they think somebody was pranking somebody, because they got a Czech-themed beer coming out right now that that was their only guess at what that could possibly have meant.
So the person, and we won't put this person, like the person that we heard is very in tune within the craft beer community, as in he's been brewing beer for major breweries in the state for the last 20 years.
Okay.
So it's not like, some Joe Schmo with the little. So it's quite interesting. I don't know if you got that from our site in regards to the whole.
I got it from your Facebook page.
Oh, no. I'm going to have to go message someone during break. Oh, that's too funny. The 19 point, obviously that number is very specific. Because why not make it 20? So it makes sense in regards to, in my eyes, either voting power or capabilities in regards to the seats at the table. Is that obviously my understanding?
Their answer was that it's a regulatory thing where they would have to do a whole lot more paperwork for that 0.100th of a percent.
The 100th of a percent. Okay.
Percent, yeah.
It just seems so weird because obviously everyone's rounding it up to 20, but legalities is 1999. So what are your other articles that you've had?
So, I was out there at Summer Beer Fest last weekend. And, wrote about my favorite beers from that. Recently went up to Traverse City and spent 3 days bar hopping like crazy. And
wow, did they really have to yank your arm on that one?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it was, I had no idea the level of creativity out there and the diversity of different...
Did you make it up to Hoplot?
Hoplot? No, I didn't, actually.
Aw, come on.
Where's Hoplot?
It's just right
north of Traverse
just
City.
A little north, 20 minutes up. When you keep going up in the peninsula, you have to go next time. You feel like you're at like summer camp that you can drink at.
Oh, that sounds great.
Wow.
You're just in tucked in the woods, hops, trees, yard games.
Right on.
Nice. So as far as the beer fest, what were your favorite beers?
To me, the Gozes and the Sours really stuck out this year. I felt like the ones that I had were better than I'd had at any previous festivals. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much, ran the gamut of different breweries that were producing these. I feel like Michigan's really up in its sour game lately.
Good. Now, as far as, it being the Summer Beer Fest, and I know we talked about this last week, do you think that there were perhaps too many barrel-aged stouts, too many just stouts and just heavy beers in general for a festival that is just that overly hot and humid?
I think that it's fun to drink really good barrel-aged beers, and there are a lot of them there, and I wasn't able to stop myself from getting my hands on a few. I think it's risky. It's risky out there in the heat, drinking more than a couple. But that
Quite a few.
It's risky all the time.
I had a few.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you got to watch that line, because...
Yeah, I know there's a line, and the very first beer that I had when I was there was the Griffin Claw Flying Buffalo Hazelnut, and right after that was pretty much like Founders DKML and Drafting Table's Rye Whiskey Mean Vanilla Bean, which
is that different than the release that they had in the spring?
That bottle release, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just straight, the Mean Vanilla Bean. But this one they aged in the rye whiskey barrels, which unfortunately they said that they were not going to have that back at the brewery because otherwise I would have just left and went straight there just to get a growler of it because that stuff was phenomenal.
You know what? I think I have to say I feel like it really rounds out a tap list when a brewery does have at least one or two of those bigger beers, like 11 or 12 plus percent, when they're also offering, like the 3.5% Gozes.
One or two, but I mean, places like Ascension, because Ascension had probably 4 that was sitting over 12, 13%, because they had You Took Too Much, the 2 different, I think, 800-pound gorillas, and then they had, I can't remember what the other one was, but it was just... Like, okay, can I drink something and walk away?
If I were to go and I was going to Ascension's little tent, that's what I would want to try, though. Because that's what everybody's talking about. So I think it's good that they bring
even for me, like I was drinking, I didn't drink any of the barrel-aged beers, but even bigger beers, like I was just asking for a half, like even a half full of the 3 little ounce thing. I'm like, because I won after the Winter Beer Fest. Where I went too hard, too fast, not even realizing I went too hard because you were drinking just to stay warm at that point. Because some idiot forgot his coat, and so I had to go buy a hoodie, and I was still trying to warm up the entire time.
And then it started pouring.
Yeah, but the whole fact is that I was asking for smaller pours just to try to pace myself. And even these bigger beers, like the heat does not lend itself to these bigger beers, like these darker beers. And I love brown ales. I was drinking English Mild. I drank Ghetto Blaster. And still, the beers that stuck out for me were Hefes, Gozas, Sours, light lagers, anything that's crisp and easy to drink. Mm-hmm. And then when we crossed, I don't know if you were with us. You might have been talking to someone because there was a few times where each one of us were talking to someone and we just kept walking.
Yeah, there was a point.
But Parker's Hilltop brought all sessionable ales. Like all their beers were under 5 or 6%.
No, I was over there with you.
Yeah, and it was ridiculous what he did in regards to bringing the beers, and I think that it brought a lot of people to his tent, even though he didn't get his beer list to the community in time for it to print out. But
right.
Like that's what I look for, especially when I go to these beer festivals. And again, understandably, I don't drink IPAs. I don't drink barrel-aged rarely. So these aren't beers that I'm going to search for in the first place. So obviously, putting myself in my shoes, I'm going to go towards something new, something different, but something sessionable because I want to enjoy the whole time as opposed to having to, drink 3 ounces, which is like 6 ounces or 9 ounces, or
right.
depending on where you are, 12 or 15 ounces.
Right.
Because some of these beers are just crazy heavy.
You know what I think another reason is that they bring those out there is that those barrel-aged beers really don't stay on the shelves long. And I think a lot of people probably missed KBS when it was released this year.
Oh,
and
geez,
there was an
a
opportunity
line.
to try it.
There was a
I'm
line
sure there
for
was.
that. There was a line for that. It's like probably the 2 biggest lines I saw was for KBS, and it seemed like everybody was lined up for some variation of Night Fury from Witch's Hat.
Now, you guys have been to beer festivals, correct? Yes. The big ones. What's your guys' plan when you go into the beer festivals themselves?
I think the season will definitely dictate the lineup.
So sure. Fall, Detroit.
I think I'll be definitely leaning towards more malty beers, malt forward for sure.
Good beers.
Yeah,
that's you didn't have to say malt forward, just say good beers, and we understand.
Yeah. One, it's funny. Last fall's beer fest, I was always, because I'm a big fan of the Weizenbach style, and I was complaining to my wife. I'm like, nobody brews Weizenbach, and then last year there's a lot of collaborations with, I think 3 collaborations, and like all 3 of them were Weizenbach, so I was pretty impressed.
Are you going to brew one?
We have one fermenting right now.
Oh, when you're in those non-standard beer fandoms, like the Weizenbach, like for me, it's alt beers. It's hard to always find these beers.
Sure.
I can't even recall. I think I walked by one alt beer in the Summer Beer Fest. Now, obviously, I remember the Winter Beer Fest walking by a bunch, and I remember not drinking any of them because I had already gotten so far gone. What was hysterical, too, is that we were there for like 2 hours, and then we worked the rest of the time.
Pretty much, yeah.
For the most part. Like, we were pouring for Kunin, we were pouring for
Ellison
and Detroit Beer Co.
Yeah, that's right. They were between.
I think that's when we actually met Angela for the first time, is at the Detroit Beer Co. tent. And it was just, it was just so much so fast, and I wasn't prepared for it. As much as I've drank, and I've drank a decent amount in my time. I used to host pub trivia at Waves Chill and Grill, and that was like $1 PBR nights, and I would just be buying myself and everyone else PBR. Here you go, free beer. Well, free to you, not to me. I'm buying it. So doing that was just like, I was fine, but that Winter Beer Fest was just crazy. What is a beer fest that you've been to, at least in the state, not a Brewers Guild fest, that you would suggest someone to go to for first?
Well, I would say it would be the Homebrew Festival. The
Homebrew Festival. That's Kunin's Homebrew Festival, right? Or is that a...
This is actually, it's the homebrewers, like all the groups get together once a year and have a weekend-long fest with no last call.
No last call?
Yeah, no tokens.
No tokens.
Wide open.
Was that
so there's
June?
No 2 token beers?
It's in the summertime. I think it might be coming up.
I think it's in mid-August.
Okay, yeah, so it's still coming. It's not too late.
We're gonna have to find some homebrewers and
all right.
sneak our way in.
It's a really cool crowd.
Wait, I'm kind of a homebrewer.
You are? You have homebrewed?
Yeah. Actually, the bottle's in the fridge right now.
On purpose?
Yeah, I know, on purpose.
Haven't made any accidental homebrews?
Yeah.
Do you homebrew at all?
I did. Unfortunately, my schedule now I can't get it in there.
I have an electric stove, and I hear that's like the biggest downfall of homebrewing. I also have no room in my house.
That's what I use.
I've been told like you need like a gas stove for homebrewing. I don't know. I'm just saying what I've been told. I've got like I want to buy I'm going to buy a kegerator for my apartment. But the problem is that I don't drink at home. So that beer's going to stay there. So I need to find I need to think this through before I do it.
Just keep having pay-per-view parties.
That's the thing though is that like it's hard to get people to come on down to Detroit on a Sunday evening.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, I don't I just open my door, put Post-it notes on all my neighbors because I live in a 22-story apartment complex. Free beer, free beer, free beer. Come to my. I almost want it. Every time I see someone moving in, I always give them beer as here you go.
That's awesome.
Well, it's a community, I think, in regards to living in a high-rise type apartment. Also, I need to ID everyone because I almost gave someone underage a beer.
Oh.
And I almost got yelled at by someone's parent.
This isn't a dormitory, is it?
This is not a dormitory, no. The thing is that because I live downtown, there's a lot of Quicken people, and there are some under 21 Quicken people. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
So... they have enough money to live in Detroit because they work for Quicken and they work 80 hours a week selling their souls. I mean, I actually I was talking with some
customer satisfaction 4 years in a row now.
For JD Power and Associates.
Yeah,
and
just got the email today.
You can pay for that. Sorry, I have both positive and negative reviews about Quicken Loans, so we'll move away from that. That downtown area though is really nice.
Yeah, no, it is.
That has exploded, especially the amount of food there. Where La Laterna just reopened up. I think that's Brush Park. Mm-hmm. A couple restaurants opened up. It's really, really nice. And then you got that Griffin Claw free music venue that's over there.
Right, yeah.
I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I would ask anyone. Do you know? No?
Griffin Claw.
Griffin Claw. It's not Griffin Claw. It's something Park.
Atwater.
No, it's not Atwater.
Was Atwater?
No, there's a free music venue in downtown, a couple blocks away from Campus Martius. It's the people who own the LeBlancs, I think is their name. They own Clubhouse BFD as well as they own a steakhouse, but they purchased a spot downtown to do a free music venue or something like that with a
is
restaurant.
This that new area over by DTE?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the DTE Energy Park or something like that.
Yeah, she actually just did that whole grand opening last weekend. That's right.
Yeah. So that was that's it over by DTE. So it's over by third and Bagley.
Right.
Third and Bagley. Yes.
Say, speaking about Beer Fest, have you guys ever been to the Belgian Beer Fest? They do a week before Summer Beer Fest.
We were there 2 weeks ago. I was there 2 weeks ago.
It's way too close. I couldn't possibly do both of them.
That's a lie. You could do it. We actually did. I got to meet a few of the people because they bring in a lot of the people from Belgium. Reps for the companies because all the beers are Belgian beers. They're not Belgian style, Belgian something. It's all from Belgium. So meeting all these reps, meeting the importers and stuff like that, really, really good. Having their first taste of the States or Detroit is always interesting to hear the stories. So, yeah, the Belgian Beer Fest in Ashley's is really, really good. The Cascale Festival is still my favorite over there. If you've never been to the Cascale, have you guys ever been to the Cascale Festival? So what they'll do is they'll have probably 30 to 40 casks of beer, Cascales. Obviously no oxygen, all firkins, and then no tokens. So you just drink and drink and drink some more.
That sounds lovely.
And then you're at Ashley's, so you get free food. Like when Angela, myself, and Matt went this year, right? We went this year, and the amount we destroyed the apps when we're just we're hungry. Because when you drink and you don't get that oxygenated hiccups, that gas that feels. You just keep drinking and drinking and drinking. But yeah, Ashley's does put on some good festivals.
That they do.
Cool.
So, Jamex, as far as the brewery is concerned, are you guys going to have any types of food? Are you guys going to serve any food at all?
No food.
No food. Is it going to be take-in?
Sure, you can bring whatever you want, and we also want to get in contact with some food trucks. We lucked out. We have a freestanding building with a gigantic parking lot for the size of our building. So there's plenty of space for people to park and for people to stand around and eat food and, take up space. So that's definitely something we're open to for sure.
Do you ever want to get into that area, or you just want to just?
No, I don't think we can handle food right now.
Let's get the bar and brewery down first.
Get that.
Yeah. And I've heard people. I'm not one of them, but I've heard people whisper if the food's good, the beer must suck. So I don't want to have bad food and be.
I haven't said that on air, have I?
Not that I know.
Specified on air. I've definitely said it off air, but I don't think I've said it on air.
I could think of.
I can think of places where the food is
I'm-
god awful, but the beer's all right.
I'm pretty certain you've never said that on air.
Yeah, Lansing Beer Co.'s beer is good, and their food is really good.
Batch Brewing has really nailed both of those.
Over in Corktown, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've been to Batch a few times. The food takes so long to get out every time I go over there, and I think I just get annoyed by that more than anything.
It's gotten very busy lately. Like, you got to pick those off hours if you want to get really good service.
So I need to check Google to see how
What's there.
Just go in the middle of the day.
And just
Well,
looks
you know,
like-
and to be honest, you have that, or you could go to a place that you're going to get good service the entire time, like Brown Iron Brew House over in Washington Township, Michigan.
26
I was going to say,
Van
Matt
Dyke?
always does the map for that one.
26 mile.
26
Van
and a
Dyke.
half in Van Dyke.
Yes.
Go check it out. You've got great beer, 69 taps. That's right, 69 with 4 brown iron taps, and the rest are brought in from other breweries. Obviously, if they're not brown iron.
I have to correct you, though. We don't have 69 taps.
I thought it was just. I always just saw it as 60 plus.
60
It's
plus.
66 in and 4 outside. Actually,
so
technically
70.
64 in. We also have a beer engine that's not always going.
So I'm one off either way.
Yeah, but I know you just wanted to say 69 taps.
I thought it was
You said it
65 and
twice.
4. I just played into it, but I leaned into it, but I thought it was 69. Apparently it's only 68.
We're a family place, okay?
Shit.
I was going to say, well, brown iron might be we are 21 and up here on this show.
Oh, yes,
due
we
to,
are.
Legalities. That's interesting. I'm curious. Well, I know you've used the brown iron. Like, you have to make your site 20. Oh, you don't have to. Because
I guess so. We've been talking about that because it's my job to take care of that. And when we weren't brewing, obviously it's a non-issue. And now that we're brewing, I don't think that you technically have to do that for legality reasons. So
yeah, because the Better on Draft page is 21 and up.
and
Obviously,
you have
we
to
can't.
sign in.
Yep.
And why is that though?
I would assume something in regards to marketing to minors, and by minors I mean 21 or 20 and under.
But did you look into it?
No. The question was, is your website about alcohol? Yes or no? That was like the actual question. And I'm like, oh, just a lot of it. I mean, I can't even like spin my entire, like Better on Draft as a whole. I can't even think of spinning it a way that doesn't involve beer.
I mean, our tap list is available online. We don't have a section about our beer yet, but it's in the works. And I would say that, yeah, I don't think that you technically, legally have to have that on your website.
I mean, it doesn't really. It does, like for me, I don't want anyone under 21 listening to my show. So
Fair.
You know, well, we had Brew Review Crew on here, and they were talking about how some of their students
because them being
listen
teachers
to them, and I'm like,
students listening. No,
that's bad news bears there. I saw, and I don't want to jump the gun, but I saw their post that they had earlier this week in regards to, I think it's the end for the Brew Review Crew.
Oh, what?
I know.
What?
I think it's the end of an era for them.
What's going on?
I'm sad. I love those guys.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't, one of our favorite shows that isn't. So after you're done listening to Better on Draft and you've listened to all the 93 plus other episodes, then go over to Brew Review Crew, which is a Toledo beer podcast. So it's not too far. They obviously talk a lot about Michigan beer, but definitely go check them out. I don't know what we are for time. You're the
We got
runner on the
about
board.
a minute and a half.
Go for it.
Do I should just go to break?
No. Keep talking. I'm
well,
just here.
I mean, I'm just sad to see them go because I mean, like you said, I thought those were some pretty cool guys. I guess we just need to, add to the team or something because have those guys keep coming out here. So I thought it was pretty awesome.
Are we out of the brown or the peanut butter?
It's out.
It's
That was
It's out. Wow, who drank that? That's
who drank that?
Who
It's
drank-
in front of you the whole damn time?
no. I only drank one. I drank. So we got the peanut butter chocolate stout, and that was actually really really good.
That was
was
pretty
really
good.
Yeah, it was
It was
good.
pretty good.
It's
Oh, there they see. As everyone's saying, it's pretty good. That's where the beer went.
I'm still trying to, I'm sitting here just measuring it up to Jaden James right now.
Oh, this is better than Jaden James.
And yeah, it's pretty damn tasty.
I love Jaden James. I love those guys, but this was much better. That was definitely a good pick by my father. My father, who doesn't drink, by the way.
I mean, they always say, the person who doesn't know college sports is the one who wins the NCAA
That's like
tournament.
when the 45-year-old Martha in your office wins the NCAA bracket because she picked everyone based on how many letters was in the mascot's name. You're like, how the hell did you pull this off?
Exactly. So I'm looking forward to getting over to that can of nerds over there, see if that truly is brewed with nerds.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's just it just landed. So we'll.
I just figure either it's just based on that or it's a movie reference.
To Ghostbusters, obviously.
Ghostbusters.
Isn't that what we're talking about?
You're at least in the right decade. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and go to break. So sit tight. We'll be back with the Better on Draft podcast. And we are back with the Better on Draft podcast.
Prodcast?
Prodcast.
Like a prawncast?
Like a prawncast. Snap your finger, snap your neck. That type of prawncast.
I thought it was more like snap your fingers, do your step. You could do it all by yourself.
Ooh, yeah, true. Episode 94. The former Pittsburgh Steeler Lawrence Timmons episode. Unfortunately, we're not going to call it that because he's a Miami Dolphin, so screw him. But
playing for the wrong Miami team. Yeah. The best football team in Miami starts with a U.
Oh yes, you and the U. We won't get into that.
It's the best college team ever. 2001 college team. There is no better college team in the NCAA history than the 01 Miami Hurricanes. I will put money and I will fight people.
95 Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Oh, Miami let's see here. It's 17 first rounders on that 2001 NCAA team. 37 draft picks on the starters of that NCAA team. I mean, just a few people. I mean, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore wasn't. It was who was right before Willis McGahee? Oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name? Andre Johnson was on that team.
That's right,
Clinton
Portis. Yeah, Clinton Portis. Good Lord, in his costumes.
Ken Dorsey technically did get drafted.
Yeah, that's true.
He was a great college quarterback.
Right.
Much better than Brock Berlin, who might have been colorblind.
Goodness. Anyway, obviously, usually with segment 2, that means we start to talk about the news with me. So,
I'll play next part.
So I guess let's go through some news. So obviously, there's a couple interesting things that have happened this week. Well, one in particular, as we kind of alluded to a little earlier. About Shorts Brewing Company, and it just kind of shouldn't come as a surprise, going from, this, fledgling brewery to Michigan only, Michigan forever, to being in the Midwest, to now having sold a minority stake of themselves to Lagunitas U.S. Holdings.
I love how the article on here is courtesy of our guest to your left.
That it is.
Thanks for reading.
Yes, you are welcome. Coming straight from the Free Press. Obviously, as we had talked to earlier, it is just under 20% at 19.99. Joe Short and the gang still going to have operating control, and they're still going to run their operations as they see fit. Of course, the part that everybody is really talking about right now is the fact that everyone doesn't see it as 19.9% from Lagunitas. They see it as 19.99% from Heineken. So there's been a lot of the usual upheaval that happens when you have a brewery that sells any portion of their company to someone who is, essentially big beer.
The salt was great online this week.
Was it?
Oh, my God. Everyone's tears was just so like I embraced it. I feel like we talk about this ad nauseum in regards to how much we've talked about craft beer buyouts and stuff. Mm-hmm. But one, it's 20%. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Two, Shorts does have this like. Shorts is one of the breweries, along with, in my eyes, in regards to the state of Michigan, Shorts, Atwater, Hideout. Like, you mentioned one of those breweries, and you're going to have the hate boys come on out and be like, oh, this is stupid. They're terrible. Never had a good beer. Oh, my gosh. Then don't drink it. If you don't like it, don't drink it. Nobody's forcing you to drink it. Nobody's, if somebody gives you, and again, everyone's like, with what's the new Melt My Brain? Everyone loves Melt My Brain.
Yeah.
And everybody, it's a niche market, but people love strawberry shortcake and the key lime pie and all these other beers.
Terrible.
But when you get to a point, you saw the writing was on the wall in regards to them potentially looking for investors when they moved out of Michigan. Mm-hmm. And now it's, okay, they moved out of Michigan, now they need more money. And of course, here comes Heineken, who has money. And then you have these levels of people. You have the people like me who just don't care. You have the people that are like, well, as long as it's not ABI InBev. And then you have the people that's like, well, I'm going to go take my money somewhere else. I'm like, go fuck yourself. Seriously. I don't understand the hatred that people have and can get for someone for making a smart business decision, a business decision nonetheless, and especially because these are the same people who will still drink Founders, who will still drink KBS, who will still chase BCBS.
Oh, yeah.
Why does it matter who buys it as long as the beer is good? Why does it matter? And we can get into the politics, and like if you go listen to the Brew Review Crew episode with Eric Smith from Ashley's, who joined us and talked about it, we can get into the politics a little more, but in regards to just a general basis, as long as you make it, it's good. And as long like I could go to your brewery in August when you guys plan on opening, and I could, this is hypothetical, hate every single one of your beers. But if somebody goes and likes your beer, then I'm like, good for you. Like their beer, drink their beer, go drink their beer. It doesn't affect me if you're drinking it or not.
You can't win them all.
No, you can't.
No.
You can't win them all.
And I haven't had your beer yet, so
buds. We're going to bring that in next segment.
Well, next segment. There we
Oh,
go. I like
look at that. Look at that lead-in. Teaser.
If only like I knew that there was a growler in the refrigerator.
A little bit of a teaser.
But again, like, and I mean, you understand, at least I think, and I say you, I'm pointing to Robert over here, Bob.
That's good enough.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
Explaining it, you understand the business a little bit more than a lot of people. You're not, I don't know if you personally are the fanboy type, but understanding the business of beer, that beer's a business.
Yeah, and I think one thing that was really stuck out to me in the interview with Joe and the owners of Shorts up in Bel Air is that when he started this brewery, he had no idea it was going to get to here, and he mentioned he had a lot of bad debt, bad banking decisions. He's a brewer at heart, right? He's not a businessman, and he basically said that doing something like this made it easier for him to focus more on beer and less on that complicated business stuff. But there's the other side to that, which is that there is this, at least for brewers that distribute, there's this limited shelf space in an increasingly crowded market, and at some point the new folks aren't going to have shelf space if we continue this trend we're on.
In regards to, are you guys going to be, or is there any plan, future 5-year, 10-year, to do distro, to do bottling, canning?
No.
No.
So you just want to strictly be tap house only?
Right.
Maybe a special line if you want to do like a special bottle release for...
Or self-distribute. But then we have to, as long as we stay under 1,000 barrel production, we can self-distribute.
Yeah, but it would be mainly just to like bars and restaurants and local.
Well, that's free advertising, basically.
Exactly.
Not only are you selling your beer and making money on that, you buy a tap handle for XYZ dollars. That tap handle's your advertising. That's
Right.
why a lot of people are starting to spend more and more on tap handles, because it's a necessity now. You can't just get away with the basic brown tap handle, and like you need. And you look at the breweries that come out, like Ellison, Dragon Mead. These tap handles, and especially when you see Dragon Mead, your tap handle, you automatically assume it's Final Absolution.
Right.
It could be Eric the Red, it could be Under the Kilt, it could be all these other beers, but you always assume it's Final Absolution, just no matter where you go. You guys are you're like, yeah, that's true. That's true. Every
100%.
time I see it. Well, it's the same. When you look at the colors of the Bell's ball on top of the handle.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Because it's kind of got that NBA championship style.
A little bit. It's like, just NBA is fantastic kind of look going on.
Yeah. So orange is Oberon.
Right.
So having that tap handle is, again, that type of advertisement. So, have you guys gotten your tap handles yet? Do you guys know what to... No? Haven't even.
No, we're once money starts coming in rather than going out, then we'll be.
That's
getting
fair.
our tap handles.
That's fair. I mean,
Wait,
as
let's
long
get
as
to
you
all
have
that
something that pulls forward, that pours
Well, we have
beer.
the very generic, pretty black ones, the black plastic
They're
tap
functional.
handles
Yeah.
that
There's no
come
aesthetic
with
value
the
to
tap. Yeah, that's what we have. For
All
Just
now.
got to glue something to the top of it.
All about function right now. That makes
As
sense.
long as it works, what does it matter?
Exactly.
Tap handles don't really change the taste of the beer, from what I've been told.
Right.
No, it does not.
No.
But you know what? One thing that's interesting about beer history is that pre-Prohibition, it was normal in Detroit to have breweries in every neighborhood, and I think that what we're seeing is move back to that. A lot of entrepreneurs like yourselves, are getting into it, and I think it's awesome. The more the better, right?
Yeah, that sound. We were in Germany a few years ago for Kat's dad's wedding, and that was the first thing I noticed. Like every town, we went to like 3 or 4 cities in the northeastern part, and every city has like their own breweries, like their neighborhood like tap room, and they still stick to the regional styles. But I was just kind of like, well, I didn't have that beer in Dusseldorf, and like Cologne has a totally different brewery. And it's like stuff I never heard of here in the States. So I was kind of thinking, like, well, it seems like Germany just has like a brewery for every town.
Yeah, I think Matt talks about that when he's on the show in regards to like each brewery always has like their dark beer, their light beer,
Right.
Continuing on that trend so that they can they all sell the same beer. It's not like here where if you go to a brewery and you're gonna have, depending on what brewery you go to, anywhere from 6 to 40 taps of all different beer. And I say 40 like Dragon Meat is the only one that really has 4, or Hideout. Hideout has a big
Hideout.
big selection too. I just want more browns. Is that so
More
much to
browns,
ask
more
for?
alts. Yes, we know.
Well, I'm not getting ahead of myself by saying more alts, but like just pour a damn malt forward beer. Is that so hard to ask? Is it?
I mean, and in the times of IPAs and bourbon barrel aged anything, it kind of is.
And speaking of it, and I kind of want to touch this before we go on to the next segment. So we're going to be doing partnerships with a few different companies for Ferndale's Fermentation Week. So Ferndale's Fermentation Week is going to be having a panel over at Otis Supply over in Ferndale, 9 Mile by Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle. I think that's Mark Ridley's. No, that's Royal Oak.
That's Royal Oak.
There's a comedy place. Go Comedy Improv.
That's right. Go Comedy Improv.
There we go. That's the right one. Over in Ferndale, Michigan, we're going to be doing a collaboration with Pure Brews America, where we're going to be hosting a panel talking about beers with a few different major players. We've got Bell's Brewing will be there, B. Nectar, Cellarman's, Imperial, which is, I believe, the might be the restaurant. I don't know for sure. I have to double check. This is bad for me to say it. You've got Otis Supply, which is a bar. Urban Rest, Zach Topinski is going to be there. John Piperbrock from Coonan. Travis Fritz from Old Nation. And then Andrew Starnes, who is the head distiller over at Rusted Crow Spirits. So we're going to be doing a collaboration panel talking about the industry, the craft industry, and what's going on in the future, as well as One Eyed Betty's that Thursday the 10th is going to be hosting craft beer trivia.
I might be able to make that.
Which I'm going to be hosting.
That's going to be interesting.
Partnering up with Quizzo.
Yeah, that part I don't like.
Over at One Eyed Betty's. I think that's an 8 o'clock start time, so definitely check both of those out. So Ferndale Fermentation Week is, I think, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah, so like the week following next.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. But what else we got from the news?
Another piece we really didn't get to because I've had this one sitting here for a couple weeks, but kind of goes into a different direction of buyouts. Because San Diego-based brewery Modern Times, which we pretty much had talked about being one of the fastest breweries in the U.S. from last year, they announced that they are now employee-owned. So through a repurchase of their shares held by their outside investors, 30% of Modern Times is now held in an employee stock ownership plan. So their founder, John McKean, he basically said that that this was his single proudest moment in his proudest achievement in business and wanting to point the way forward to other businesses in the industry and beyond to essentially have breweries that are owned by the people who work there. He also said that Modern Times proof that a startup brewery can compete and win in a craft beer market without selling out, all while taking outstanding care of our employees and rewarding our investors. They, the goal, of course, right now, sitting at 30%, he would like to get it eventually to 100% employee owned. It's quite a feat for somebody or for a brewery that has kind of grown as the way that they have, to take that step instead of looking at, the ABI money or the Heineken money. I guess it is kind of interesting for them to just go that route.
Only thing they're doing is making sure they don't get bought out. That's the only thing that they're securing. Because I don't think ABI will want to touch some type of internal stock where there's going to be 100%. Like Fat Tire. Fat Tire is pretty much the only company that I can see that could never get bought out by a major company.
New Belgium.
New Belgium, yes. Did I say Fat Tire?
Yes, you did.
Makes sense. Everybody understood what I said when I said Fat Tire. But yeah, so when New Belgium, I don't think I don't think any company would want to touch it, because I think there's just too much politics in regards to the amount of stuff they have to do to get that purchase. Because one, they'd have to purchase at least 51%, and between the employee-owned capabilities, you need a lot of people on board for that.
Yeah, I get jealous with their damn benefits. I mean, what was it? New Belgium, after 5 years, they send you to Belgium. Modern Times has some interesting ones where it's unlimited paid time off.
I have that with my company right now. Unlimited paid time off.
Dang.
So, nice. I know people that take paternity leave. I know you don't have to worry about, taking time off from maternity leave, stacking up your PTO. You just take it off and you get it.
Damn.
100%.
All right, Diesel, get on that. Especially the 2-month paid sabbatical after 5 years.
I was going to say, the sabbatical where your email's disconnected, your phone's disconnected, you can't do anything.
Yeah, that would be nice. I need to get.
Yeah, I wish I could have that. That would be a nice. So, what do you guys what do you do for a living other than make beer?
Well, I was a shipping manager in Rochester for an electronics manufacturer and distributor.
That's up north, right?
That's up north.
That is up north. Way up north.
And right now we are all in on the brewery.
Really?
Yes.
What about you? What'd you do before the brewery?
Me, I'm just a mom.
Okay.
Of 2 babies.
That's a job.
That's a job.
Yeah.
It's a busy job.
I bet
It is.
Yeah.
I
We
was
had
gonna say,
2-year-old and 4-year-old.
damn.
So we've been busy.
And cleaning the tanks too now.
I was gonna say.
right?
That's
See.
my
I
favorite
figured it all out.
What?
See, because soon the 4-year-old's going to be 6, 7. They'll be able to understand basics of cleaning, and they're the ones that fit in the tanks.
Absolutely.
So they're the ones that are going to be cleaning. Oh man.
And it's named after them, so
And
they
it's-
Right.
have to.
Right, it's their responsibility. This is your brewery.
It's your legacy.
Right. You have to clean these tanks.
That's until they take over, fire you guys, and it's like, all right, that was fun. Let's add our own food here.
Right.
I tell you what, if you're that would be 16 years from now. If you guys make it 16 years and you're still going strong, I think that's a good thing in the brewery industry. That'd be a pat on the back, especially because there's still breweries that are closing up shop every couple weeks here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Almost as fast as they're opening.
Yeah, very true. All right, another one which kind of just goes into both of these, really, in a way. Denver Post published an article about the state of beer sales, and they noted that our one of our favorite companies in all the world, Goldman Sachs, recently downgraded the stocks of Boston Beer Co. and Constellation, citing sluggish sales. And apparently the problem is millennials.
So is this sales in Colorado or sales in the country?
This is saying it was sales in the country.
Okay.
So
Colorado made sense.
Colorado, of course, makes sense. Yes, because there's kind
Weed.
of that weed thing.
People spending the money legally on weed.
Right. But basically, they're saying that kids. Well, I don't know why he puts kids in the article. Let's just say young adults are not drinking as much beer as they used to, and are moving more towards wine and spirits.
Is this by volume or by profit?
This it looked like what I was looking at was everything was by volume.
So that would make a lot of sense in regards to think back 10 years. Angela, you're too young. So think back 10 years, going to a bar, going to a bowling alley or something like that. Think back at the amount of beers you were kicking back. Like for me, like my beer when I was 21, 22, 23 was at that time probably Coors Light. And I'm kicking back a pitcher's 60 ounces. That's 5 beers. I was kicking back 3 pitchers a night.
Jesus.
They bowled a lot.
Oh yeah, I bowled a lot. And the Coors Light really wasn't bowling night. That was bowling night was always Coors Light, and then we would drink them out of Coors Light, so they would give us the bat at the Coors Light price. Thank you, 5-star. Nice. And that was before we went to the bar. Mistakes were made. I'm not proud of them, but they were made.
Shouldn't even remember them.
But at this point, I'm thinking back to say a standard week drinking my fizzy yellow beers. I was probably putting back maybe 40 to 50 beers a week. Yeah. And now, in regards to prior to the show, like even if we didn't include the show, I may put back 5 or 6 beers a week.
I mean, these are the first ones I've had all week.
And that's the thing, though, is that we're choosing to spend our money on quality products or products that we deem as quality than purchasing to get drunk. Like, we are no longer the generation, like the beginning generation of millennials was the drunk generation, like that tail end of Gen X, beginning of millennial, frat boy, get drunk and post it on MySpace. But now it's
top 8.
Now people realize they can't get a job when they're posting that.
Well, but more, it's so like I would rather drink a good drink than get drunk off of Popov.
Yeah, true.
Mind you, like that was my friend's vodka choice. Like they would just drink. I'm like, you guys are dumb, and I'd be drinking my yellow beer or whatever. I'm like, whatever. I'm enjoying it. I can't do vodka like that. Like I need something a little bit more, or mix it. Jesus Christ, they're drinking it straight from the plastic bottle, and here I am. I'm like, I just want like a White Russian or a whiskey sour. It's just something to me. I can't do straight liquor. Not that I do liquor anymore, but I just can't do straight liquor. Yeah. So like I'll do like a vodka 7-Up or a whiskey 7-Up or ginger ale, whiskey ginger ale, really, really good. I can't wait. So, you guys, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the energy drink Balls, BAWLS. No, just me. That's okay. So you can get it at Micro Center. It's a high caffeinated drink. It was huge in like the early 2000s, and they just released a ginger ale. So like a high caffeinated ginger ale, and I want to do that with whiskey one day because I can just imagine the up and down of that, like the upper with the caffeine, the downer with the whiskey. But I think people are choosing like that. I think that's why the death of your Ramshorn style restaurants, your diners, because people are more going to pay for when they go out to eat. They're going to go to a nicer restaurant. They're going to go to Imperial. They're going to go to I'm trying to think of other restaurants in Ferndale. Fuck Slows.
Toast.
Toast. Yeah, Toast in Ferndale, Birmingham. That's the thing is that I think because the money we don't have that much anymore, we're spending it on things that we want to eat or things that we enjoy as opposed to just the cheap and the terrible, because we can make the cheap and the terrible, or ramen.
Very true.
Well, it almost seems to me like, do you think American adjunct lagers, like there was something in the way that they formulated those that just made you want to keep drinking them?
That's because they're light, easy to drink, and can drink anytime.
I mean,
anywhere.
you never get full off of it. You can drink it all day long.
True. Very true.
I wholeheartedly agree. Like, I can't, when I think of a beer, and I think of a beer that I want to drink a lot, it's got to be something sessionable. It's got to be something easy to drink, something easy to put down. And, you think back to those beers, and we were drinking beers at bowling and it's just going down like water.
Yeah. I mean, but even like lagers and pilsners, like PC Pils or Dortmunder from Great Lakes, even with those, you don't get that urge, right?
I don't know. I think if you're drinking the Bud Light, the Miller Lite, the Coors Light, that kind of stuff, it's a different mindset than when you go towards your PC Pils or your Dortmunder, especially because of the price.
Well, yeah, sure.
I mean, if I'm going to spend, if we're equating Bud Light to PC Pils, and I'm like the amount of money I'm going to spend, I'm going to sip and enjoy my PC Pils as opposed to Bud Light. I'm going to be like, well, the waitress sucks here, so I'm gonna get another glass of another beer, another 4 beers, or at one point that's why we started just buying pitchers because the service sucked, and we're like, let's just give me a pitcher of beer and we'll each drink our own and have fun.
All right. Speaking of some of those lighter beers, this actually happened a couple weeks ago as well. There was an article that came out from the Chicago Tribune where the writer Josh Knoll, he rounded up 3 Chicago craft brewers and basically gave them the task of blind taste testing 13 light lagers being made by the largest brewers, which, of course, that pretty much puts us all into the world of big beer. So basically, they had to figure out, or basically rate the beers and figure out which one was the best tasting light lager. So you had brewers from Revolution, Half Acre, and Pollyanna, and basically they were given Budweiser, Bud Light, Busch Light, Mick Ultra, Natty Ice, Coors Banquet, Coors Light, Keystone Light, Hamm's, Miller High Life, PBR, Old Style, and Schlitz.
They had Old Style. Like, I know the results, but they had Old Style in there?
They had Old Style in there.
Oh, man.
So, of those 13, tied for second was PBR and Miller Lite.
You fucking hipsters.
Always with the ties and always with the hipsters.
The hipsters isn't the reason for the tie. PBR is the reason for the hipsters. I have a buddy. So if you guys are in Detroit, around Detroit, I always suggest there's a Facebook group called Return to Detroit, and it's ran by a gentleman named Chester Brown. And him and his wife, retired, live in the city. They go to all the restaurants, all the bars. They talk about it. Whenever they post like the top 10 sandwich places in Detroit, and they're like, yeah, we've been to all of them. And I'm like, wow, Jesus. And that's the thing is that's what they do is they're foodies. They go, and he always complains about how the hipsters and our generation have created this PBR, like how expensive it is now,
right?
Because of that. But definitely check it out. It's called Return to Detroit on Facebook. Chet does a great job in regards to promoting free stuff in Detroit, what's going on in the city, as well as, of course, talking about how all the places he's been.
Right. Well, the one that was in first, I just had a feeling that Matt would really get a kick out of this one. Unfortunately, not like his surname. It was not Bush. It was not Busch Light. It was Hamm's.
Fucking hipsters. that's it. Hamm's is the new hipster beer.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah. PBR has lost its shelf life. Stroh's ruined itself by Batch ruined. Brew Detroit ruined Stroh's. Batch ruined Stroh's. Who makes Stroh's?
Brew Detroit makes Stroh's.
Brew Detroit ruined Stroh's.
There you go.
Those are fighting words.
I have no problem telling someone that their beer is not good as much as I'll tell them that a beer is good. Just as much as when we had Travis on the first time here, and I'm like, your double dwarf was garbage.
Right.
And he's like, all right. I'm like, it's not that's the thing though. It's not meant to be insulting. I just don't like that one beer. And I'm not going to be here to, like Brew Detroit with Stroh's. They also, they do Badass, I think, too.
Yeah.
They do a few other beers, but like you just ruined Stroh's because you tried. It wasn't like Beguile over in Chicago. There's a Pils in Chicago or a Bohemian Pils that everyone loved, and Beguile purchased the recipe as well as the yeast strain to remake it. Whereas for Stroh's, they just tried to like do a homebrew clone of it. It just tasted bad. I don't know what your guys. Have you guys had the new Stroh's?
Yeah, a while back. I mean, it was good for what it is trying to be, I think.
What was it trying to be in your eyes?
Think if it's going to be a yellow fizzy beer that's a thirst quencher, I think it's fine. Like if I had to choose between a Coors Light or a Stroh's now.
New Stroh's.
Yeah, new Stroh's.
Not old Stroh's. Because you can still get old Stroh's.
Well, the new Stroh's, it's a no-brainer.
Coors Light.
There's a time where 3 months ago I went to we were working in a brewery. I had my friend help me paint Cinderblock, which is really fun, by the way.
Oh,
and we went to a bar, and I was thirsty. I was sweating all day, and everything was like really kind of heavy there. It was March. So they had all their stouts and everything, and the only light beer they had.
Boatworks?
No, it was the Butter Run. which is pretty close to Boatworks on the other side of Harper. 11.
Okay. I just remember the first time I went to Boatworks, there's Trudy. Well, I think it's closed now, but Trudy's Beauty Salon's over there. And I took my grandmother over there, and then I went to go get beer while she was there for like 3 hours, getting her hair done and stuff. It's that beauty salon's like that old school barbershop feel for like for lack of better words for the men.
Yeah.
Like the men go to the barbershop, the women go to the beauty. So she's there for 3 hours chit chatting with all her girlfriends, getting her hair done, or waiting for her, or in the what's that heat thing that goes above their head? I don't.
Just the dryer.
Is it just no? It's got a name for it, doesn't it?
It's just a big ass dryer.
I don't know. But yeah, that was my first thing into Boatworks, and I tell you what, as you know, we do have our sponsors and stuff, but a big shout out to Boatworks. So the first time I was there, I had my Miami garb on. I'm a huge Miami Hurricanes fan, and the owner was playing like Golden Tee or something like that with some friends, and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh, was the Miami game on here? Let's turn it on for you." And I'm like, I'm just there for beer. Like, I'm not even. I'm like that. That's the kind of service that I don't expect when I go to a place, but that's the kind of service that I remember when I go to a place. And I'm like, no, Miami's play. I think it was a Saturday night game because they were probably playing Florida State or something like that. But it was such a ridiculous feeling to have that. And then their beer choices was ridiculously long. I have yet to be back. Have you guys been to Terry's Terrace since they turned it into a barcade type style? No.
Nope.
I want to go check that out because Terry's Terrace, and then you got Ready Player One, which is coming up soon in regards to opening.
Wasn't that supposed to be open by now?
From what I've been told by my sources, and I don't want to name my sources anymore, apparently, they had some issues in regards to copyright infringement or trademark or something like that.
Well,
yeah, there's that movie coming out.
Because you have the movie coming out. And
Well, I don't think they had the movie because the movie doesn't like it would be in a different trademark realm for confusion in the
Right.
industry. But I think there are other Ready Player Ones out there in regards to barcades.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they were doing. But I know the people that helped them out. I have a feeling they're going to be winning their court case and everything's going to be fine. But obviously, it stops that from any type of when you have litigation against you, you can't open up a bar.
Right. But if anybody's going to go check out that movie, I would highly recommend reading that book because that is a phenomenal read. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back with the Better on Draft podcast. And we are back with the Better on Draft podcast, episode number 94.
94, yes.
94. The year I graduated. Yeah.
Elementary school?
I know, you can tell by the grays, right?
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you because I brought that upon myself.
Bullshit.
That was kind of a compliment. If you graduated in 94 from elementary school, you would only be, maybe born in 84. God, I try to compliment you, and you make me sound like an asshole.
Yeah, but you know what I would have missed in the 80s? To hell with that.
All I can think of now, just for lack of better words, the fact that, one, you're black if you didn't know. And two, Hot Tub Time Machine with Craig Robinson, where he goes to the guys like, what color is Michael Jackson?
Goonies, man. Goonies.
That's a good movie. That was on Freeform or something, or AMC.
Actually, I saw that it was an anniversary year. They played it at the Redford Theater out in Old Redford.
Oh, I would have loved to go see that.
The dude
Did they have the octopus scene, though? That's a key.
Oof.
Because the TV version typically doesn't have the octopus scene.
Yeah.
But you need to have the octopus scene. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Have you guys ever watched Goonies?
I hadn't seen it since I was 5, so.
So in Cut for TV, they remove the octopus scene where they get attacked after they go down the water slide into the ship area. And then the octopus attacks them, and somebody puts on a pair of headphones on the octopus, and then the octopus dances away. It's the Goonies.
Yeah, I don't think it was on there. I don't think it was in there.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just, it was weird just watching it. This, after growing up and seeing this, during a period when you're not a kid, and it's just there's so many different cuts and it keeps going in so many different directions. You're like, wait a minute, where's this movie going? This isn't as good as I remember it was.
It's just mouth knew somewhat Spanish.
Yeah.
The chick knew somewhat piano.
Right.
And Mikey, was that Sean Astin?
That was Sean Astin.
Sean Astin wanted the gold.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is.
So our guest brought us beer, though.
Yeah.
What'd you guys bring us?
This is our very first test batch.
Uh-oh.
It is
Yeah.
a test batch, so be nice.
It's a forewarning.
I'm going to give you my honest opinion. I'll be nice about it.
No,
I'll say it with a smile.
It's a very, very simple blonde ale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just nice and simple. It's something that we wanted to test.
I wanted to do a quad, but my wife didn't think that was a good idea for a test batch.
Yeah, I would agree with your wife here. Like when I went to the Belgian Beer Fest, I didn't bother with triples or quads. I just stick with my the sours and all these other beer styles that were not triples or quads because I wanted to survive.
Sure.
When you have unlimited pours and you're like, so let's crack it open. Let's try it. Yeah.
So does it have a name yet?
Well,
There's a thought of a name.
a lot of our equipment was used for the first time, like including our hot water heater, where we were gonna cool the beer.
We bought an old walk-in that was for the first time being used for longer than half an hour.
We don't have glycol for our fermenters, so we are planning on using a cold room to ferment them. That's not up yet. And our walk-in broke, so it was fermented way too warm. It took us 12 hours to brew it.
Our hot water heaters broke. Everything broke. But we found all the flaws in our equipment.
That's good.
Yeah.
So that was the point of the test batch.
You know what I just thought of as well while you're pouring the blonde? You guys should have named it Jamex Ales, because then you have Alex James backwards instead of Jamex, James Alex James.
That's right.
So then you could do, Jamex Ales.
Jamex ales and lagers. So.
Oh, that's good.
There you go. See, now we don't need Matt Bush. Fuck him.
Yeah, exactly.
We just need me to make names.
Internal name generating bullshit. We don't need you.
I was going to say, I can't lie. He does make really good names.
I know he does.
Yeah, so then silly stuff started happening. We were stressing out because it's taking way too long, and then we forgot something really stupid, which is the size of the boil kettle. So the beer's coming out really diluted. I'm like, okay, it's a blonde ale, but this is borderline 2.5%. So then we ended up boiling it for 3 hours to get the gravity back up, and after a 3-hour boil, I'm like, okay, it's not going to be a blonde ale anymore. It's going to be like a copper ale, but it's not going to taste right. And then it ended up coming out and looking okay. And
it's pretty good.
for all
in
the
our
things
opinion.
that went wrong with it, we think it's drinkable.
I had to figure out which one it was. That's the blonde ale.
Yeah.
That ain't no blonde ale.
That's not blonde.
I'd be very concerned if that was a blonde ale.
No, but yeah, we so we put a little more water. So we bought our equipment back in November, and we didn't get to use it till now. And of course, we got all excited and we started using it without looking back at what we bought, and we didn't realize that all the kettles aren't the same size. Some are bigger than others. So we ended up adding an extra 10 gallons to the boil. So in which case we had to boil for an extra hour and a half to boil off all that extra
on a
water.
90-degree day, nonetheless.
Yeah, and in the meantime, everything else in the brewery broke as we were using it for the very first time. So it took us 12 hours to make this beer.
So let's
made with lots of love.
let's make you guys feel
It's a
really
lovely
uncomfortable. Bob, what do you think of this beer? You're the one that writes about beer. You get paid to do it.
I can drink it.
Remember, this is a test batch, everybody.
Oh yeah.
So to be honest, it's definitely a little bitter in regards to for a blonde, but it's so crisp that it's something that I could drink over and over and over again. And you're gonna have to forgive me as I excuse myself, but I do love it. So make sure there's a little bit left because there's somebody else here.
Yeah. No, this is and I'm as far as the bitter part, I guess that's just his palate, not mine. I
It's
don't.
very sensitive to bitterness.
Yes, especially when it comes to IPAs. It's just IPAs. It's just like any sign of bitter, then he's
You can
he's trying to
smell
turn it
bitter
off.
a mile
But
away.
but that definitely that crispness and just it is just kind of one of those things where I feel like I can just kind of sit here and I could pretty much just drink this all day. This is pretty good. I'm usually not too much of a fan of blonde ales and wheats and things like that.
Sure.
I've always been kind of this just browns, porters, stouts kind of person, and I've been trying to warm up to the lighter side. This is the better part of this last year, and this is really enjoyable. I like it.
Well, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I would. Even for the that hop bitter, I'd drink this all the time.
Awesome.
Like this would be a lawnmower beer to me. Like this would be the kind of beer that I'd want to drink while I'm grilling or out or doing something like that.
Oh yeah.
So you guys survived.
Fair enough.
Our first review.
Your first
public review.
Yeah, and I mean, if you get past me, that's usually pretty good. Now, bring me an IPA. I'm just going to tell you it's bad already. So just don't take that seriously.
Right.
So we do have a couple people that joined us real quick as we're kind of we brought a lot of beer. And we're kind of drinking it all, so we invited people to come. As he brought his own, well, they both brought their own beer. So, longtime friend of the show, Eric Brigham, welcome back.
Thanks for inviting me.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Just got done playing softball, so sorry I'm late.
Did you win?
No. It was
Okay, then we don't want to talk to you anymore. You did bring someone else, and I don't think I've ever met you.
I'm Amanda Geiger.
Okay, talking to the mic. It
hi.
won't bite you back. We are live. Don't worry. This will be recorded forever.
Amanda's
wonderful.
Amanda's a longtime brewer. She is from the west side of the state. She's brewed at Pike 51, Hideout, Cedar Springs, and is currently in between jobs.
In between jobs. Well, I know this great brewer over at Rochester Mills Brewing that might be able to get you a job. But I don't know for sure. Yeah, I don't know about that either. But so obviously you brought in some founders. I think it's Pigeon Hill.
No, there's nothing here.
Nothing there.
That's a retro Stroh's can.
Retro Stroh's can. All right. Well, you can find both of those beers over at Zatuna Liquor
There it
in
is.
Rochester Hills. There you
I
go.
wonder if we could throw that in there.
Oh, it is. I was trying to figure out what it was. That little.
They put
Line
it
at the
in
top.
a white can for the summer for some reason.
Did they really?
Yeah. Packaging and everything. Boxes, cans.
Oh, all right.
pretty
That's
it.
fair enough.
To try and get you as close to, Stroh's as you can.
I tell you what, I still need to bring in my 60-year-old cans and bottles of Stroh's to try one night. So
Yes.
that's some aged beer for sure. Maybe I'll bring it. I'm going on the Coonan bus to Taste of the Midwest. Maybe I'll bring it over there and get these guys to try it for sure.
That might be an ugly trip.
We've got plenty of beer to try. So feel free to just start taking glasses and pouring for yourself as we continue the conversation. So this blonde is really, really good. What else are you making for your first batches for opening?
Well, in the wake of the blonde, and I all of a sudden got a shot of confidence, so we brewed a Russian Imperial Stout. Just because everybody wants to see a strong beer, why not?
Right.
Weizenbock, because that's my favorite beer to drink. Either that or Doppelbock, and it's summer, so I figured we'll do the ale yeast. We did a Imperial IPA yesterday. Today we did a mild.
Ooh. I'm excited for that. Yeah.
A lot of good malt in that.
That
beer.
was like when we were pouring for Latitude 42 at summer, I had Rob go get me a beer. And he comes back and I'm like, wow, this is delicious. What is it? It was Ghetto Blaster. I'm like, I've had this a bunch. That's the thing, though.
Well played, Rob. Well played.
Hey, do what I can.
We've had all these beers, and for and I've again, it's one of my many ad nauseum phrases. We're so disloyal as craft beer fans. We go to the newest, the better, the greater, the next, and it's great, but we don't go back to what we know and what we love. And you have, and I think Ghetto Blaster's on that list of things that you go back to, those things you love. I think Ghetto Blaster's one of them. I think going to Atwater Dirty Blonde or Vanilla Java Porter. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other Dragon Mead's Final Absolution or Eric the Red. Coonan's Drippa. I mean, everyone loves Drippa, but they forget about it until it comes around. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing is that, there's so many choices, and it's not, we say disloyal as a negative connotation, which it kind of is, but in the same sense, there's so many choices for you to try that it's like, you almost feel like you have to try, or you have to at least try a new, and I think when you guys open, and you guys are going to get swamped that first weekend that you open, because we've heard stories when we had Ascension on, we've heard stories when we've had Downey on, Dearborn. That first weekend, when people know that you're open, people will come and they will be there. They will try your beer and they will go for it. Ascension, I think, brewed double what they thought they would make, and they still sold out in a day and a half or 2 days. So,
I mean, you should see that just from their Facebook page. Every time these guys post a picture, it's like the first 3 comments: "When are you opening? When are you opening? When are you opening?" It's crazy.
I think that's with all of them, and I think it's just a struggle with getting all the licenses, because you've got to as much as you're not doing the food, because a restaurant is hard enough to open, period, in the city, especially. You know, I get to learn that within my industry, but doing that with the brewery, getting the license, the city, and thankfully, you guys aren't the first brewery in the city.
Right.
So they do at least understand what's going on because they've had Baffin. When we had Downey on, they were the first ones in the city. Yeah. Ever. Like, not even pre-prohibition. Like, first ones ever to have a brewery. And what was great is that the city of Dearborn was on top, and they're like, all right, let's figure this out. What do we got to do? What do we need to do? And having that type of backing is great. And then you have, like, Northville, where North Center Brewing, I don't know if we mentioned them. We'll mention them again. North Center Brewing sponsor over on North Center Road, just south of 8 Mile. Go check them out. Their coconut brown was so good. Did you get a chance to have it?
Damn right I did.
Hell yeah, it was so good.
No,
we actually met with them before we opened, and he was so nice.
Yeah.
He showed us his business plan.
Did you go talk to Kevin?
Yeah, yes. He did a total presentation, showed us how he opened up, everything he went through with the city, with everybody, equipment.
And then Granite City
all
came
of
in
it.
and was just like brewery.
Yeah, he told us about all that. But no, he's such a great guy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This is why we enjoy having Kevin as one of our sponsors, North Center Brewing, fully. I'm trying to think where we are in regards to. We still got 15 minutes to chat. And,
Oh yeah, we got time.
This beer is actually really good. Do you have more? Let's make sure we have 2 more guests that would love to
Absolutely.
try this blonde. This is their
Yeah.
first beer ever, so be nice.
And what is the brewery name?
Jamex.
Okay.
So this is going to be opening up in
Yes.
St. Clair Shores,
Excellent.
hopefully next month.
Cool.
So definitely check them out. Really, that blonde's really. I don't go for blondes too often. I'm trying to think of like all the blondes.
I mean,
I've
the only one I've really had that I liked was from Veterans.
Veterans blonde was really
the
good.
blonde bomber. I thought it was pretty
Atwater's is hit or miss. The
good.
dirty
The
blonde.
dirty blonde is just.
I think the bad times I've had it, thinking about it in my head, have been where I know the lines aren't clean.
right.
So I know the beer isn't that good. Like, I know the beer is better than what it's presented at this time.
Right.
And
Angela,
that's-
you haven't commented. What do you think about it?
The beer?
Yeah.
Oh, I said it was good.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, it's good.
She's very quiet over there today. She's still tired from her cross-country trip. She was at the Gorge Theater in George, Washington.
Yes, I was.
I saw that. My dad got really confused because, first of all, my dad wanted to know more about your trip than how my day was. Because I said you were in Banff, and he's like, oh my gosh, and it's like all these stories. So my dad's a big traveler within U.S. and Canada. So I told him this, and he's like, oh, should she go here? Should she go here? Should she go here? And I'm like, hi, Dad. Haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Nice to see you. Glad I could stop by. I really wasn't that sarcastic because he did bring us all these boiler beers.
Yeah, the beers he brought are good too.
These are some.
The whole time I was gone, I feel like we were dodging wildfires. It was crazy. There's a lot of fires out there right now. We would
Really?
be driving and you just see tunnels of smoke.
That's scary.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Called
So-
wild.
What's coming up for your Freep articles? I think you mentioned that you're going to be heading to the southwest part of the state.
Yeah. I'm actually going out there for a completely different project, but I'm planning on hitting a few breweries along the way. Seeing what I like out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
do you do anything more than just beer, or do you do spirits, wine?
Yeah, I like writing about meads and spirits especially.
Do you have a favorite mead out there right now?
I've really enjoyed a lot of the ones I've had from Schramm's. Obviously,
Can you comment on their latest release?
I cannot. No, I haven't had their latest release. What is their latest release?
The Black Agnes.
I actually was on my way today, and I already missed the wait line to get in line. So
The line to get in line.
yeah,
Is this did Ken Schramm pick the blackberries or something from his backyard?
No,
using-
that's the Heart of Darkness.
So what they're doing is they're releasing a couple cases every day. I think for a week or so of leading up into mead
God,
weekend.
that's so smart.
And yeah, so I tried 2 days in a row, and I've missed it both days. It's not, like I said, it's not like a wonderful commute down here from where I live. So I don't know if I'm going to keep trying.
You should just move down here.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah, that's I I don't like waiting in line
But
for beer.
I have to roll my eyes at the situation just because there were so many haters last night saying, "Oh, these people are so dumb for waiting in line," or "Oh, this release sucks because I work a 9 to 5." And then I don't know who was waiting in line today, but I was bound to be there at 3:10, and at 3:10 I was already too late for the 4 p.m. opening.
I mean, those are the same
well,
people.
did you know at 3:10 you were too late?
Yeah, my friend.
Okay,
my
that's
friend
good,
filled
at
me
least.
in. But I was already on
mean-
the expressway 10 minutes away.
I mean, I would hate to have shown up and then been like, that number 51 of 50, where there's 50 tickets and you're number 51 and you're just looking. But that's the thing, though, is, we'll kind of hone this back to some of the articles that we're going to be talking about at Fermentation Week. But when Travis, I think the first or second release of Boss Tweed,
jeez.
they released 2 cases per person, and then they realized as
that
there
was
was
the first
still
one. That was
It
first
was
a
the
release.
first,
line
yeah.
around the
First
building
Yeah.
that they needed to lower it, so they did 1 case per person.
Right.
And then there was still a line around the building, and they're like, we need to do a 6-pack per person or 2 6-packs. And people were complaining because they didn't get the full allotment. I'm like,
Right.
you're lucky you got 2 6-packs.
Exactly. And I remember and talking to him before the release started, I mean, he was just completely brimming with confidence that there was enough beer. It's like, we've had the releases before. We're not going to run out. We should be able to handle this fine. And then, I got my case and a half, and then people came in, 2 cases. By the time I got home, I'm looking on Facebook, and I'm saying,
The Facebook.
oh, the Facebook. The Facebook as opposed to the
Where's,
Twitter.
well, hold on. What was Justin Timberlake's character in the movie where he told him to remove the from the social network?
Oh, jeez.
Wasn't he Sean Fanning? Wasn't he the Napster dude?
I think so. I can't remember.
All right, go on. Sorry.
But I'm just saying, it's like,
Sidebar.
just looking at, the post, and people were just getting all up in arms. Oh, damn it, now it's down to 1 case. Oh, how am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do with 1 case? I don't know, fucking drink it? Other than that.
What am I supposed to do with the 1 case of beer?
One case of beer. And, I mean, it was...
Old Nation has been nothing but generous.
Exactly.
I mean, they sell their kegs. I mean,
Right.
A lot of breweries don't do that, and they are so reasonable.
And people got pissed off about this latest release where they decided, okay, let's not do this 1 day. Let's do this over 3 days. You guys still you use the ticket system, you buy a ticket, you come into one of these 3 days, you still get you get your beer. Oh, why does it got to be those 3 days? I work those. Oh, I'm on vacation. I'm like,
you don't need a case of Boss Tweed every time it's released.
right, exactly. And
That's
then
a 9% beer. I mean, are you just wasted every single day of the week?
it seemed like people were getting more pissed
I
off.
drink a beer every day too.
Just not 9%.
Exactly.
People were just like, it was like either being pissed off because they couldn't get it, or they couldn't get a friend who could get there. It just was on this day where they were on vacation. It was people. Or it was
Maybe
just,
we should start releasing beer on the 8th day of the week.
right? Or that like the biggest one that I think I saw was that people were upset that it wasn't distributed yet. And for those
So
that
then
actually
they can complain that it's put on Meyer's shelf and it's not kept cold enough. I mean, for Pete's sake, I'm out.
It's a no-win
I'm tapping
situation
out
out
of
there.
this
It really
industry.
is.
I can't do it.
I feel like I just my entire life went to Angela, and Angela is saying everything that I would normally say.
I'm gonna recommend something you do for any of these tastings is you pull the media card and you contact people and say, hey, we're reviewing new products or reviewing new meads and want to give me a bottle so we can
Yeah,
talk
I've
about
totally never done that before.
it. I mean, if you can't get in line, you try it.
Yeah, I've never done that. So let's make sure. So Jamex Brewing, St. Clair Shores, where are you guys going to be at?
Between 8 and 9 on Harper, probably closer to 8 Mile Road.
8 and 9 in Harper. That's over by LA Fitness and...
Yeah,
Just
pretty
north.
much. Yep. If you take the 94 exit off of 8 Mile or Vernier.
Vernier,
then
yeah.
there's LA Fitness right
I was going to say, I've been on that exit many
It's a
times.
mile south of Sabby's.
That's where Taco Bell is.
more.
Yep,
you
just
go.
south of Taco Bell.
Just south of Taco Bell.
Oh, I know where that is.
Wait,
Oh, no,
Taco Bell's...
wait.
I was like, Taco Bell's right at 8
Oh,
Mile.
no, there's another one over by
you're-
9 and Little
Mac and-
Little
Yeah,
Mac and Harper.
the eight or Vernier and Harper one is that's I've
you're
been to
right.
that one plenty of times. Sober completely.
Sober food.
So you guys got a website, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes.
Those would be
So we've got the website, jamexbrewing.com. We have our Facebook page, Jamex Brewing. Which
Very
we
nicely designed
update.
website. Dude,
Thank you.
They paid for it.
it doesn't match. Hey,
We all-
I was trying to do a quick shot to a different person, but okay.
I see.
Actually, a very nice local did it for us. His name is John Ross, and he's getting into IT and stuff, and so he did a really good job on our website. Then we do have a Twitter and Instagram account, but I'm learning how to use them. And I'm really I keep forgetting about Twitter and Instagram.
I feel your pain about Instagram.
It's just so much. So much.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick insider. There's a company called Hootsuite, HOOTSUITE.
Oh, yes.
Use Hootsuite.
Yes.
It'll help you with your social media in regards to getting everything in one
In one
You
spot.
do
general location.
one post, and you could just have it go to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook all at the same time.
That's the same thing up.
Yep.
Yep.
Like
So
a
it
repetitive
consolidates
to everybody.
Yes, it does. That's why I am terrible at it because I get bored or uninterested, and I'm
And
trying.
reading
Obviously,
the same post in three different spots.
It's not necessarily that, because I think a lot of people. I think people who are moving around in the beer Instagram or moving around specifically for beer photos. Whereas like beer Facebook and stuff, one you have to understand is that your Facebook page only reaches 20% of your audience. So at that point, unless they have your see first setup or anything like that, they're not going to technically see it. But whereas you have Twitter and Instagram, I think more people are going to see it in the first place on those. But Facebook's still number one, be all, end all.
Oh, yeah.
What about MySpace?
I mean, unless Jamex is in your top 8,
Yeah.
and I mean, that's if you have top 8.
You have to
could
mention them in your live journal.
You got
No,
I never had
come
one of
on,
those
Ange.
pages.
Everyone uses Dead Journal now. Live Journal's too cool. You gotta be against the grain and use Dead. It's the same exact thing. I was gonna say, have you guys ever looked back at your old social media accounts that are still up? Because they're
Delete
still
that
there.
stuff. It's so embarrassing.
I don't even know if I can
Any
get to 'em.
trace.
Sounds terrible.
Leave no trace.
I have a feeling I'm going to try to go find Angela's old MySpace account now and see what I can find. It'll be like, oh, there's Angela in elementary school.
Yes, I was gonna say.
Oh, it's not that old.
Well, MySpace is what, 2002, 2001, and you were in elementary school when MySpace first started.
I didn't have one then.
Oh, I was going to say, do you have an AIM account back then?
Oh.
BRB, I gotta go. Update my status.
New AIM account. Who's this? God, I was going to say AIM isn't even that dead yet. That was
It's
like
dead.
6-7 years. Yeah, it's still dead, but it's not
Yeah,
like that
it's-
dead.
I
Like,
haven't added someone on their screen name since I got a cell phone back in, 11 years ago.
oh Jesus! I was going to say I was selling cell phones in 2002 back when pagers were still a thing. Motorola V60, that was the new hit thing. When you were paying 15 to 20 cents a text message both ways.
Did you see that new Trillium that dropped yesterday with the Nokia on it?
No,
It's an IPA. You wouldn't care.
I wouldn't. But go on. Obviously, we're on a radio show, and there's 7 other people here that might.
It's just a sketch of an old Nokia phone on there. The cute little blue
The
ones.
bulletproof.
Those are great phones.
Yeah,
Those were
indestructible.
when people complain about like the service and stuff. Like 80% of bad service is your phone. The other 20% is the service.
That's when you used to only turn phones on to make a phone call.
Oh yeah, that's back when you had a landline and you actually answered it without a caller ID. It's like you didn't even know who was on the other line. You answered the
terrifying
phone
that would be.
without knowing who was on the other line. How scary does that sound now? Like that was back in the day when people would knock on your door because they were in town and they wouldn't call to say they were. They would just, hey, what's going on? I haven't seen. Now you're knocking on the door. You know it's a Jehovah's Witness or.
You hide from the window here.
Do you need to change your cable internet? I'm here to sell. Wow, Wide Open West. I was gonna say my mom got by with one of those. It was literally an encyclopedia salesperson, like
Why
in like
not?
2000. I'm like, Mom, like, oh, this is good for your schooling. I'm like, I understand that, and I could probably use it, but I know how to use the internet now.
Has anyone here listened to the Serial podcast?
I do.
I want to hijack this podcast and talk about that podcast.
The cereal
we
podcast.
can save it for after, yeah.
Yeah, well, we could talk. I'd love to talk about the cereal podcast. That's a great series. Both seasons. Well, the Bo Bergdahl season. The first season was good with Anon. So, Robert Allen, how can they find you? Twitter, Facebook, Untapped, Grindr, whatever.
Well, I'd say 3 out of 4 of those. They're going to find me pretty easily. Spirits of DET on Twitter. That's at Spirits of DET. And then on Facebook, robertallen.news or Detroit Free Press. And freep.com. That's an easy way to find me, too.
All right. Rob, this is your show, not mine.
This is my show?
Yeah, I'm just a co-host.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for episode 94 of the Better on Draft podcast. Thank you, Bob, Jamex Brewing, Mr. Eric Briggerman, and I'm sorry, I completely
Miss in between jobs.
miss in between jobs for coming on the show. And of course, no matter what you think of your beer, we think it's better on draft. Take care, guys. Good night. 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 Good night.